Hello, Sonder fam. Welcome to our weekly setup. I am so excited to be here with you this evening and get ready for next week, which, if you're in the US, next week is Thanksgiving week, if you can believe it. I personally cannot believe that we're so close to the end of the year here. It just feels like things are flying by, and it has been chilly here in Tennessee, which is where I'm dialing in from tonight. If you haven't had a social with me before, my name is Bailey Grady. I'm going to be your facilitator for this evening. So we're going to be going through our weekly pages on page 46 and 47 tonight, getting ready for that week ahead, getting that dedicated time set aside to get you all ready for that week. But before we get started, we'll have a little exercise on our theme of connection as well. It's always a good way to get ourselves sort of in the moment and warmed up. Be sure that you have your chat set to everyone tonight. If you haven't, there's an option there that'll say like host and panelist or everyone. And if you don't have it set to everyone, then only me and the fabulous Maya, who is helping me out in the chat tonight, will be able to see what you're sharing. And we want everybody to be able to see what you're sharing. So be sure that you have that set to everyone. And just by being here tonight, you're all entered into that self-care gift raffle, but we'd still love to see how you set up this evening. So be sure to share on Sonder Club or on Instagram. You can tag us at Silk and Sonder or use the hashtag Sonder Social. So this evening, we're going to start with that connection mind map activity, and then we'll get into our weekly setup, and then we'll wrap up our time together. So before we get started with our connection activity, I wanted to talk a little bit about our theme. So connection is defined as a relationship in which a person, thing, or idea is linked or associated with someone else. That's the definition that is actually in our journals at the front this month. But I know that this theme has been a little tough for some of us this month. You know, the last couple of years have been more isolating than normal in a lot of ways. So I also wanted to share Brene Brown's definition of connection. She says, I define connection as the energy that exists between people when they feel seen, heard, and valued, when they can give and receive without judgment, and when they derive sustenance and strength from the relationship. So the reason I wanted to kind of bring that in and touch on it is I think the key part of this definition of connection is that it happens when people feel seen, heard, and valued, when they can interact without judgment, and when they're deriving like sustenance and strength from that relationship, because sometimes we're born into life with connections that aren't healthy for us. You know, what we have sort of given to us at default or right off the rip, or, you know, what's most convenient sometimes those connections are tough and they're not the healthiest for us. And sometimes the best thing for us is to let go of those connections. And it may be tougher to make new connections than some of those ones we were automatically started off with. But if the connections available to you are not giving you those things that you need, it's okay to take time and set clear intentions about what you want in the connections in your life, and wait until you have the right people and community and spaces that give that to you, right? Because if it's not giving you that healthy interaction, then it might not be best. So wanted to touch on that a little bit again, just because I know this has been a little tough for some people. So I hope maybe that helps to bring a little bit of a different perspective. So with that, we're going to move into our connection activity. So if you've been attending the socials all this month for the weekly setups, you know that we're sort of building around this idea of connection and focusing in on different areas each week. So social connection can help you boost your mood and manage your emotions. And this month we are again exploring different areas of our lives where we can make connections. So this week we are focusing in on community and neighborhood. So we're just going to take a little bit of time to think about different ways you can connect with your community and neighborhood and form those connections. I think something to keep in mind when you're doing this exercise tonight, and if you're back next week doing the week 4 with us, is that this isn't a to-do list. It's really just a brainstorm, right? You could come up with a lot of different ways you can connect to your community or neighborhood, ways you can connect to yourself, family, friends, and coworkers from the last few weeks. But that doesn't mean you have to just like get right in and do it. If you come up with ideas, but you're like, oh, I don't know how I would do that, that's okay. You don't have to have a plan of exactly how you would execute this stuff. It's just getting that brain storming going and those juices flowing so that if an opportunity arises where you could execute one of those brainstorm ideas, then maybe you will because you've already kind of thought about it a little bit. So I, for my community neighborhood connection, wrote, walk the neighborhood in the area and talk to neighbors. I didn't know most of my neighbors before COVID. I was fortunate enough to work from home, but also that meant I was very cooped up. So at least once a day, I was like, I have to get out of this house and walk around. So that's what we did. And that's really when I met the majority of our neighbors in the neighborhood, even though we've lived here for almost a decade now. Another way that you can support your community is just by supporting local businesses, restaurants, attending local events. You can also create or join community pages online. Sometimes we have local in-person community around us, but it's hard to make that initial connection to them. But thankfully, we have so many groups and things online now where we can say, oh my gosh, there's a whole group of hikers right here in my neighborhood. It's women who hike in Nashville or whatever it is. And so sometimes it's just being brave enough to take that first step and join and go on that first hike. And you never know, you might meet some new best friends. So I'll give you a few minutes to go ahead and jot down your brainstorm on this, and then we'll come back together and get started on our weekly setup. All right. So awesome job just taking a few minutes to just kind of write down those ideas, get our juices flowing, get us present in the moment before we move on to our setup. I saw lots of people sharing that they like to do donations in their local community. That's a great idea. I saw that Cheryl shared that they love to volunteer at the local Humane Society as well as bi-monthly blood donations. I love that. Maya and I were just talking about how we're such an easy target for all of the cat rescues and pet rescues and things out there because we just love our animals so much and they're all rescues. So I love that, Cheryl. I saw that JoJo shared that they're going to go with their daughter to make Christmas crafts with the local Girl Scouts, which sounds super sweet. Lots of people agreeing that supporting local restaurants and businesses is a great way to get out there and meet other people and be a part of communities. So awesome job, everyone. So we are going to go ahead and move into our weekly setup. So again, this is going to be on pages 46 and 47 this week. So this is what my spread looks like, but we'll be diving into each one of these sections and taking time to get set up in each one of these areas. But just so you can sort of see the whole thing together, it is here. This is mine. So the first section that we are going to start with is on page 46 in the top right. And it's the This Week I Want to Feel. So for me, all of my examples in the slides tonight are going to have this little bright orange box around them. So you'll know what is mine, but I'll be sure to touch on it as well. So for me this week, I want to feel present. Again, we're going into Thanksgiving week. I have plans with friends and family, and I just want to be very present in those moments and soak up the time that we have together. But up on the screen, I have a lot of different ideas and words and stuff you could pull from if you're not exactly sure where you're at. And you can always use images that make you feel a certain way or stickers. But definitely share with us in the chat what you're writing down for this week. And then we'll come back together again in a few minutes. All right. I love seeing all your words in the chat. Saw lots of people putting thankful and grateful with it being Thanksgiving week. Very appropriate. I also saw Cassandra shared vibrant for sure. They're meeting new people next week and would love some confidence vibrant brings. I think that's a great word for that. And then Lisa shared snug. They felt so scattered and lost this week. So they're going to do what they can to be snug. And I thought that was just an awesome word because it just make like I know exactly how you want to feel, if that makes sense. It's a good feeling word. So thank you all so much for sharing. So now we are going to move right down to the little box just below the I want to feel section for our weekly major 3 goals. So in this section, you could tackle it a couple different ways. You can use your November intentions on page 9 and your monthly habit tracker on page 11 to sort of set up your weekly goals this week. Set goals through that lens of connection, focusing on friends, family, coworkers, community, definitely maybe family this week if you do get to celebrate Thanksgiving with them or your chosen family, whatever that might look like for you. Create 3 no goals that affect your life in a positive way. So for example, no alcohol, no doom scrolling on the internet, no more than X minutes spent on social media, no excessive spending, no takeout meals. You can look at previous weeks or journals to see what outstanding goals you may still have that you want to accomplish or focus on. Frame your goals around a single personal challenge for the week. So fitness challenge, cleaning or decluttering, self-care, salad challenge, or use the monthly theme to set these 3 goals. You can also repurpose this section if you like. So 3 favorite quotes, 3 podcasts, movies, or TV shows you want to watch. 3 ways to embrace fall or embrace that season of Thanksgiving this week. 3 songs you want to check out for the week or 3 songs that you enjoyed for the week. Explore 3 topics you want to know more about. Try 3 new recipes. That might come in handy if you're having people over. Create a little mini bingo board or 3 fun activities for the week. So here are a couple of different examples, and I went ahead and kept those ways to repurpose up in that top right corner for you all, but I'll be sure to sort of flip back here while you're working on this section. Again, mine's in the orange box, so my goals this week are just to enjoy time with family, share gratitude with others, and try to rest. So again, it doesn't always have to be these like 3 major tasks. Maybe if you decided you want to feel peaceful this week, maybe you just want to write be still or put a single sticker or image there that makes you feel peaceful. You can use this however it makes the most sense for you. So I will put on some music and let you all decide your 3 major goals. right. So I saw that Susan shared that their three major goals this week are decorate, laugh, and send out love to the universe. Love that. Mary Ness shared that they've been using this section for quotes. And I know Crystal was trying to figure out the best way to turn theirs into a bingo board. I think they finally got it figured out there. So now we are going to move on to our next section, which is our weekly to-dos. So just to the left of our weekly major three goals. So there's a couple different ways you can do this section instead of a to-do list. You can make it a ta-da list. Sometimes just changing the phrasing on that makes it just feel a little bit better. You can use the Eisenhower matrix, which is over in the far right corner there. So you sort of make this grid of things that are urgent, not important, and important, and then place them where they need to belong in that grid of do, decide, delegate, or delete. Sometimes if you have a lot to do this week, if you have a busy week, that can help you sort of prioritize better. You can list things you want to do this week instead of just the to-dos you have to do. Make a self-care list or write down things you don't want to forget for the week. So for mine, again, it's here in the orange box here, and I'll go back to that page as you're working on these as well. So somebody had asked me about my calendar at the top. So my like circles are when I actually have like events or things that I have to go do. And then my dots are kind of like little reminders, like birthdays and things like that. So I've got sort of my weekly plans there at the top, and then underneath the sort of like things I would like to get done this week. But again, for me, it feels better to have it as the weekly plans, like less than a weekly to-do, because to-dos for me just feel really like, oh, if I don't get it done, it doesn't feel good. But I like planning to get those things done. So that is how I'm doing mine. But you could turn this section into a bingo board as well. That's what that center example is. You could divide it up into different sections like self, home, and others, or do a wants and needs column. Sometimes that helps to make it feel a little less like yucky too, because it helps you sort of prioritize things a little bit better. So I'll give you all a few minutes and then we'll come back together. And again, I'll go back to that other slide for you as well. All right. So I saw that Amanda really loves the ta-da concept. And then a lot of people were sharing about the book Atomic Habits. I've not read it, but I've heard really good things. I'm pretty sure that's the book a friend of mine wanted me to get on Audible like forever ago, and then I forgot. Which Tia gave a great tip that I guess that there's like a recap on YouTube. So if you're like E and you keep forgetting to download the Audible or struggle to make time to read as often as you want to, then that might be a good option to get some of those tips and tricks quickly. And then Nona Natalie Ray mentioned that when they're writing down their to-dos in this section, anything that they're not able to do that week, they just move it over to the next week. So that's always an option as well. So we are now going to move into the habit/activity section. This is the bottom part of page 46. So you can use your November attentions again on page 9 and your monthly habit tracker on 11, as well as your goals for the week to determine your weekly habits and activities. So one of the questions we get in this section a lot is, well, what about my monthly habits versus my weekly? What am I supposed to do here? And we really try to say that the monthly habit wheel should be things you definitely want to try to do every single day. And then your weekly habits could be sort of a continuation of that. For example, maybe one of your monthly habits is to just walk every day, but maybe this week you want to get specific and say, I want to walk at least 10,000 steps every day, or 3 of the days this week, I want to walk 10,000 steps, right? Maybe like pushing that goal a little bit, or you can make it something that you need to focus on this week specifically. So again, mine is in the orange box. One of my kitties has a little urinary infection, so he's got to have some medicines and stuff. So I've got his stuff there at the top this week. We just did a photo shoot earlier today, actually, so I've got to work on those photos this week so that I don't just cram it all into one day. And then I want to try to share gratitude with others this week. It is Thanksgiving week, and of course, do my journal. So you've got some other options and things here. One person just put grace. Totally fine. If you're like, I am struggling to do my daily goals, I can't do anymore, that's totally fine. You can do something else with this space. You can put stickers, you can put anything else you want to here. Also, you can set specific goals for the week. Sometimes doing that 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 method is helpful, because if you do that one thing, then that feels good and you get some momentum for the rest. But it's also fine to just say, you know, I want to focus on this stuff this week, but I don't have any clear, like, set amount of times I want to do it. So you can always just leave that goal area blank too. So here are some ideas and things for your habit activity section, and I'll be sure to go back and forth again. Definitely share with us what you're putting down in the chat. All right. So I wanted to share a few things. So Amanda shared that one that they're sort of fleshing out this week is to practice telling their husband how to make them feel taken care of. It's a goal they set for 3 times this week, and they find it a little hard to tell their loved ones their needs. So hoping to make this a habit. I actually think that that's an incredible idea. I have been working really hard on feeling my feelings, and something I've noticed too, Amanda, is I also sort of struggle to share them in a very clear and plain manner. So I think that's an awesome way to try to like build that habit in. So go you. Melanie shared that they've got hugs every day listed, reading, home reset, color, and delete emails. Love all of those. And then Wendy shared that they're send a card to encourage someone, write out their winter triggers. That can be so important going into holiday season. And like, I know the holidays can be a tough time for people. So it's good to be thinking about that now and be mindful to be better prepared. I saw Maya shared that they may need to revamp her AM PM routines to be in sync with shorter daylight hours. I think I probably need to look at that too, Maya. So we are now going to move on to our next page, page 47, and we're going to start in the meal plan section. Now, this is an area that gets repurposed a lot, so definitely feel free to use this section however it works best for you. You can use it as a meal planner or food tracker. I know that Jennifer O, another facilitator, uses it to keep track of like when they made stuff so that she knows how long her leftovers are good for, so she doesn't eat anything yucky or bad. I'm changing mine to a meal tracker, and I'm actually changing the water droplets to little fires because I have been having some issues with acid reflux, and I'm trying to kind of figure out what is causing that. So I'm going to try to keep track of what I'm eating and kind of rate how I'm feeling throughout today with the acid reflux and see if I can figure out what's going on there. But you can also change it to daily affirmations, scriptures, meditations, journal prompts. If you are using it for work or school study, you can use that to track different tasks and activities. You can use it as an exercise tracker, a cleaning plan, a gratitude log, mindfulness activity planner, end of day reflection. Again, affirmations, 7 types of rest if you'd like, to plan out different ways you can do that or track it. A packing list if you have that coming up. I know some people have used it as a wardrobe planner, like what they want to wear throughout the week. It makes getting ready in the mornings a little bit easier. A medical condition focus tracker. So I guess you could classify mine as that this week. So I'm trying to figure out what's going on. A self-care planner or just weekly favorite. So different times each day, track different favorite things that happened. So you can see somebody wrote it out as a rest plan. Somebody here is using it as daily affirmations, different like to-dos with cleaning over there. And then here's some more examples. So this one with the sticky notes, I believe they write the actual journal prompt on the top sticky note and then actually write their answer underneath. That's kind of cool. The 7 types of rest are there in the center for tracking that. There's a self-care plan and then somebody that is using it as those favorite moments. So I'll go back and forth between these slides while you all figure out how you would like to use this. All right. I saw Samantha's going to use this section as a homework planner. Melanie said that they usually use this section to reflect, but this week they're going to use it to really dive deep on gratitude, since that's what Thanksgiving is all about. I love that. We have that like gratitude log at the front of the journal, but I actually really like the idea of like taking a minute each day to really dive in this week. I may have to like use another section or like the scratch page on the pages 48 and 49 for that for me, because I really like that idea. I saw Jennifer shared that they use this section to track what they do each day for 4 components of their morning routine, which is workout, meditation, book, and breakfast. And then Stephanie shared that they think they're going to start using it as a word of the day section. Just going to put it in the one thing area since they know what to put there. So awesome recommendations. Love seeing the different ways that you all decide to use this that works best for you. So we are now going to move into the mind body health plan. So just on the sort of top-ish right part of the page there. So there's a couple different things you could kind of do with this section. I have sort of played around with the 7 types of rest in this area a lot. There's 7 days of the week, so I used to sort of track the different 7 types of rest here, or trying to make sure I was getting the different 7 types of rest in. But what I found is I was always sort of missing one or lacking somewhere. And while that's helpful to know, it was sort of stressing me out that I wasn't getting all 7 in all the time. So now I just use mine as a rest tracker. And so each day I sort of take a minute, check in with myself and say, hey, did we do something today that sort of helped replenish us? Does it fall into one of those 7 types of rest category? Like maybe I took a time to read a book. That's definitely mental rest for me. Maybe I took a time to like spend some time with a friend I'm close with. That's sort of sensory. Or rather social rest for me, because I'm like connecting with somebody that is close to me instead of just like everybody. What was the last time I sort of took a bath or just sat peacefully and maybe just listened to music, didn't have a podcast or something like that on, right? Or maybe it's just meditating, getting outside, stretching, whatever it might be. So just trying to take note of that. But you can see somebody decided to track sort of the different fun like national days on theirs. Somebody did I feel and I need area. Somebody's using it as sort of a workout tracker or different things that they want to do. I like the different 4 categories and then drawing the lines example. I think that that's pretty cool. So definitely this can be whatever you would like it to be, but here are some different ideas of things you could list in there, or different activities you could start tracking in there, or things you could put down in your plan. So definitely let us know how you're using this space, and then we'll come back together for our last few sections. All right. I saw Tracy uses this area to track daily steps, and that Jackie shared that they've committed to random acts of kindness this week. So they're going to use that section for writing down those random acts of kindness each day. Kelsey said that they like the idea of the lines, but maybe doing it with the 7 types of rest. So using this sort of bottom left example here, and it'll be interesting to see which ones they need throughout the week. And then I saw that I know Jenny is just planning to do some fun stickers in this area. So awesome job doing what works for you all and seeing different ways you can maybe try things out there. So we are now moving to our shopping list section. So obviously Thanksgiving is this week. So if you are hosting, if you're making anything, if you're doing Friendsgiving, you may need to put some extra grocery items on there if you haven't already done that. With the holidays coming up, maybe you want to make a gift list for others or maybe yourself. Obviously coming up this week as well, we'll have Black Friday, or if you don't participate on Black Friday, Buy Nothing Friday. There's also Small Business Saturday. So again, that could be a good way to connect back to community like we talked about, if you can support local business. Cyber Monday, and then Giving Tuesday. What about Sunday? Sunday doesn't have a day, it sounds like. So we could make it Self-Care Sunday. Why not? So maybe you'd like to plan to spend your Sunday with us next week, setting up for the other week ahead, or maybe you want to make a list of things that you could get for yourself as a little Self-Care Sunday plan for the remaining Sundays of the year. So for me, I have all the different things I kind of want to look for on Black Friday deals in orange. And then I have lots of save for later items in my Etsy cart for Small Business Saturday. And then I like to support lots of different local animal rescues for Giving Tuesday. So I've got those as my reminders in my shopping list area. But you could use this as a self-care bingo board. You could do any kind of other fun bingo board here. You could reorganize this section into packing or just errands and to-dos that sort of pop up through the week, like maybe unexpected things that you didn't know you were going to have to do until later in the week. You could put quotes here. You could do word of the day or Wordle here if you want to. Mindfulness activity, bedtime or morning routine, a cleaning chart, drawings and doodles, even if you want to, or tracking caretaking list. So go ahead and set yours up here, and then we'll come back together and do our final section. right. I saw that Dana uses this to track packages on the way so they remember what's arriving. Lots coming in the mail for holiday. I had not seen that idea before. I think that's great. Katie shared they're using it as a small mini board using habits and activities for the week. So kind of as a bingo board that goes with the habits and activities for the week, which I also think is an awesome idea. Lots of you use it for doodling and calligraphy and fun artsy stuff like that. So our last section this evening is the I am loving section. So just taking a moment to write down something that you're really enjoying right now. Or if you're not sure what that is right now, maybe saving that for later. So I'm loving wearing sweaters in the chilly weather. If it has to be cold, at least I can be cozy. But some different ideas is, we have fall foliage going on right now, cozy nights in, Thanksgiving is this week. Decorating for the holidays, fall beverages and flavors, sweater weather. And then we have those sort of like fun national holiday day things here on the left-hand side. So maybe you want to plan to enjoy National Gingerbread Cookie Day or plan to enjoy National Espresso Day. Go out and get you a nice coffee that day. So I will give you just a few minutes to write down your loving and then we'll close out together. All right. Thank you all so much for taking some time to figure out what you want to do with your I'm loving section. Saw so many of you are loving the Sonder socials, and we love to hear that so much. So thank you for sharing. That actually is going to close out our time together this evening. We would love for you to share your weekly setup on Sonder Club. If you haven't downloaded the app yet, it's free. You can use that QR code there to download it, and it is also available here on our next page. But if you would also please take the survey. I understand they made it a little bit shorter, so maybe it's easier. I know if you come regularly, it probably feels, a little repetitive, but I promise you that they do look at that feedback. I know Maya is working on things for next month, and I saw some feedback in the chat that she said that it looks like maybe they're already planning on changing some things up next month. So I promise that they do look at that feedback as it comes through. We're doing our Refer a Friend program still, so I think it's you get $10 off and they get $10 off, so there's a QR code for that. And then the YouTube link for the social recording. So if you ever have a night and you want a social, but there isn't one, you could always do the replay of another one. Or if you can't make one and you miss it, you can go back and watch the replay of one that you missed, but make sure that you hit that QR code and save the link. It is not searchable, so you do have to have that special link. It's just for you all. So make sure that you save that. And then I will share my playlist in the chat just in case anybody would like it. But thank you all so much for joining us. I hope that you are feeling ready for next week and excited for Thanksgiving, whatever those plans may be. And until next time, we hope that you all have a wonderful week ahead.
This love, it is a distant star, guiding us home wherever we are. This love, it is a always tasted me somehow still.